Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I am the Reverend Christine Dance, and I am honored to serve as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. Welcome to our online worship service. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, a very special welcome to you. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, focused on diverse theological perspectives, radical inclusion, and knowing that issues of justice and equity shape everything that we do. With a special awareness for all of those who have been historically marginalized, we welcome all, of every race, class, ethnicity, immigration status, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious background, mental and physical ability, and disability. We welcome your whole self and your family, however you define it, into our worship as we build a community of caring, courage, and hope. Our opening words this morning are from Brittany Packnett, from when she addressed the General Assembly of Unitarian Universalists in 2018. Brittany is a Black female author, speaker, writer, activist. And Brittany says, "You can't be prejudiced, racist, sexist, or homophobic. After all, you belong to this faith. You don't carry pitchforks and march with the Charlottesville gang. You don't vote for Trump and you started the Women's March chapter in your city. You are a good person with good intentions. You love everyone, and your tax returns prove it. But I challenge you, I charge you. If here is where you're tuned out, this is precisely and exactly the time to tune in. Do you love people of color, or do you tolerate us as long as we aren't too disruptive to your agenda? Do you love LGBTQ people, or do you only love the cis white male ones and forget the L and the B and the T and the Q, especially the ones of color in your fight? Do you reflect the culture of your congregation in your leadership, or do you check boxes and fill quotas? You do not have to be white supremacist to benefit from white supremacy any more than you have to be a misogynist to still benefit from the patriarchy, or a homophobe to still benefit from straight privilege. It is not enough just to be not a racist. We must expect ourselves to be actively anti-racist. It is not enough to not be sexist. We must expect ourselves to be intentionally and consistently disruptive of gender discrimination. And it is not enough to not be a transphobic. We must expect ourselves to be obsessed with supporting the achievement of justice for trans people across the globe, as we are with our own. I invite you to grab a chalice or a candle from your home as we recite our covenant, and my wife Karen lights our chalice here in the sanctuary. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gary Ezel, and I am honored to be serving as your worship associate this morning. As always, we invite you to check in to UUCP on social media with the hashtag UUAnywhere. There is much to do in our community, which you can find out in our newsletter, Compass. And you can sign up for Compass at our website, phoenixuu.org. Today is the day. Winter bag pickup will be at Grenada Park, that's at 6505 North 20th Street, from 12 to 2 p.m. today. We will not be having coffee hour today, so that you can all join us there. I happen to have one of the bags here. And believe me, there are a whole bunch of goodies in there which I'm not going to show you. However, in there, there's also a list of everything going on at our congregation throughout the holiday season. You make sure to take a look at that. It is important to note that we've learned that there is some construction going on near the park, but that's not really a problem. The best way to get in there is simply to turn on 20th Street off of Lincoln, and you can get in right away. Our offering is being collected virtually, just like our service. We ask you to be generous in your giving to support the mission of our beloved community. You can text UUCP to 73256. You can donate through the website, or you can send a check. For all that you give to our congregation, we are very grateful.
So today's service is about slowing down and about urgency. So let's everybody calm your minds and sing the old spiritual hush. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Thanks all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nix Rose, and I'm your Assistant Director of Children's Ministry. Today, we're talking about urgency, which is that feeling you get when something feels really, really important right now, the most important thing. and how that feeling can be a little tricky and maybe not always accurate. So let me tell you a story about two friends, M and D. M and D, they were talking about vacation and how long it had been since they'd gone on one. D was so excited to tell their friend all about this vacation spot they'd been to that was incredible. It was the coolest, most relaxing but exciting place they had ever been. And they said to their friend, "Oh, Em, you would love this place too. And I would love to go again. Hey, we should go there together." And Em thought, this place, it did sound pretty great. And things have been so busy lately, it might be a little hard to plan a trip right now. And Dee said, "Oh wait, say no more. Leave the planning to me," and got started. So Dee planned when the friends should leave town so that they would get the most out of that season's scenery, and made reservations for a hotel and a tour they could take together and tickets to this cool event that would be happening when they were there. And of course, called some restaurants and made reservations at those places and got it all figured out and sent that information over to M. And then D made a list of supplies, clothes, and special gear, and of course, snacks, and then got it all packed in the car, and everything was ready to go. But when the morning of the trip arrived, M didn't show up at Dee's house. Dee was a little worried about what had happened. So they went to see their friend. And when they got there, M looked unhappy and stressed out. And before Dee could launch into an explanation of everything that was ready, Dee said, "Listen, you've been so excited to show me this wonderful vacation spot, and it really does sound wonderful. And you made all those plans for us. But I can't take a trip as long as all those days that you picked. I could only, maybe go for a couple of those days. And the days you picked would mean I missed my mom's birthday, and I don't want to do that. And I'm not sure what to pack for the weather in this place that I've never been to. And really, I think maybe I might need a vacation where all I do is stay in bed for a few days before I'm ready for a vacation that's full of so many cool things to do. I know you're ready to go and you were so excited about this idea, but I'm not ready. And this plan doesn't work for me." None of that was what Dee was expecting to hear. But they realized in their rush to prepare a perfect experience for their friend, they forgot to plan with their friend. So Dee took a deep breath and asked M what they needed and what they wanted, and made sure to really listen to M's answers. And they didn't go on that vacation right that day. But about a month later, the two friends did take a trip to that wonderful place for a shorter length of time, and with not really any reservations to exciting experiences. And while it may not have been Dee's idea of the perfect trip, M thought it was pretty wonderful. So remember, take that deep breath when you need it and slow down, even when it feels like you should speed up. And remember, you are very powerful and you are very loved.
Good morning. I'm Susan Morris. I've been a member here for almost 20 years. My piano duet partner is a new member I was thrilled to meet. She just joined in spring of this year. We have chosen 3 movements from Capriole Suite, which is a 20th century composer's take on Renaissance dance tunes. The first has a real driving rhythm to it, the second more reflective, and the last one in a major key again, calm and quietly joyful.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much, Susan Morris, Liz Merchant. You all rock. It is the time when we share the joys and sorrows of our community. Being together, it is good to share, to support each other, and to connect. If you wish to share something in joys and sorrows, please write it in the chat in our Zoom meeting. Please put your name up front so I know who it is. And if you wish for me to know it but not say it out loud, please put the word private up front. While you are entering those, let me mention a few in our world. While we are still mourning and angered by the verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, we give thanks that justice was done in the trial of the 3 men who killed Ahmaud Arbery. And we hold all of you who celebrated Thanksgiving this past weekend, and those of you who didn't. For those of you who got to see family, maybe last year you didn't get to, and this year you did. And for those of you who still had family and friends not there for many different reasons, for all of the joys and complications of the holiday, I see you. And then I want to give a personal joy and thank you to Rose Cue-Pasco. This is the final week of Katie's sabbatical, and so that was Mix Rose's final together time, not forever, I am sure of it, but for this time, and for handling together time, for handling children's ministry, and so much more than what they bargained for. We give a big thanks to you, Rose. Thank you so much. Please feel free to share some thanks to Rose in the chat as well. And we turn to the joys and sorrows of our community. Our first one is from Vicki Myers, A Sorrow. Vicki wants us to know that her mom died last Wednesday, comforted in hospice care, thanks to the generosity and loving support of our community along this journey. Victoria and Ted, we are holding you both in our hearts and in our prayers in this time. Chris Wachoff says, a sorrow that my mother-in-law's partner and caregiver has left her. Joy that my mother-in-law said yes to moving to the Beatitudes. That's wonderful. Beatitudes, folks, I know you're all watching there in that room. You watch out for Chris's mother-in-law's mother-in-law there. That's wonderful. Nabi and Jera say we are making D&D maps. That stands for Dungeons and Dragons. I know that. Lynn M. says, a joy that I am able to play cards in person with close friends last night. We don't take that for granted. And Ed Cernak says, joy, grandson number 3, Miles, was born to daughter Hannah last Monday. And for those of you counting, Bonnie and Ed, that is 2 grandchildren in about 10 days. Is that correct? Woohoo! That's amazing. That's amazing. A joy from Linda Vance. The holiday lights are up. Thanks is given to my granddaughter, Casey, for her help. Larry just wasn't here to give instructions on how to do it. And a reminder for all of you that the memorial service for Larry Reed will be next Saturday at 10 o'clock here in the Memorial Garden. We will be sending information on where to park in Compass. Much love to all who shared. So I invite you now into a time of meditation and prayer. I invite you to settle your body, to let go of any of the urgency around you. Take some deep breaths and just stop for a moment. Our prayer this morning is called A Prayer for While in the Struggle by Reverend Margalie Belizaire, who is the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Orlando, Florida. Spirit of light and love, spirit of resistance, spirit of generosity, that which serves as our conscience in this work that we do to dismantle white supremacy, to empower the marginalized, to insist that Black Lives Matter matters. We have been angered, we have been saddened, we have been pushed to the brink once more. We are also inspired and resolved always to try to do better the next time, to not simply get to the other side of this moment, but to get there morally healthier, to get to a safer space for Black bodies. Spirit, help us to understand that we each have a role in justice work, for our liberations are tied to one another's. Give us the clarity of mind to know what our individual part is in the struggle, and that there are many ways to protest injustice. Help us to find our way and to commit to it. Spirits, we ask for guidance. Send us strength and endurance. Help us to give our all to this and hold nothing back, for precious lives depend on it. We will be imperfect. Rest assured that we will mess up over and over again, and we must do it anyway. May we summon the courage to tear down this system of injustice and get busy creating a world community with justice for all. May it be so. Amen.
Today's topic is urgency and the assertion that sort of an artificial sense of urgency pervades our culture, and that artificial sense reinforces white supremacy. Now, I am absolutely easily persuaded that the first part of that is true. I see it all over, including in my own life. Just recently, our printer at home died, and so I immediately jumped on Amazon to order a replacement. And I was disappointed. In fact, I was dismayed to find out that the inexpensive models that I was looking at would not be available for over a week. Over a week. Well, so I got in the car and went to a local merchant and was able to purchase one there. And probably going to a local merchant was a better choice anyway. But the point is that I was just astonished that I couldn't get something as quickly as day after tomorrow. Even though I really didn't need to print anything that day, or even for the next week. I think this addiction to urgency does go beyond our consumer culture. Again, in my own life, all too often I have read an email and immediately responded and hit send, only to realize after 5 or 10 minutes that there was really more to be said, more to be thought through. And if I'd just given myself a little more time, I could have asked that extra question or given an extra piece of information. That happened twice in the past week. It's better to have drafted a response and then set it aside and think about it a bit before I hit send. I am learning maybe to slow down. I'm working on it. And it isn't just me. All too often, when I've been driving in traffic, some dude has tailgated me and then passed me into the next lane and gone past me only to tailgate the person in front of me and then shift over to the other lane and get another. It just drives me nuts. And I thought, what a jerk. Only to remember that it wasn't that many years ago that sometimes when I felt I was in a hurry, I would do exactly the same thing. I'm kind of slowed down a bit now that I've retired and I've gotten a bit older, maybe a bit wiser. I've cooled my jets a little bit. So yes, I do believe that addiction to urgency is prevalent in our culture. Now, is it indicative of white supremacy? I'm waiting to be persuaded of that. Is this actually more difficult, more destructive to non-whites than to whites? I'm sure there's an argument to be made, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. But right now, I want to make a different argument, almost a counter-argument. Our democracy is in peril. We are in danger of losing it. Now, whether you lean left or right on any particular issue, your opinion won't matter in a minority government, in an autocracy. I think we should feel a sense of urgency about this. To not take action, to feel that, well, I'm okay, I'm comfortable, it'll be okay, is to tacitly support the would-be autocrats. And this clearly is exemplary of white supremacy culture. Our non-white fellow citizens have much more to lose. So let's feel that urgency. And also realize that while it's urgent to start, this is not a sprint. It's going to take persistence and patience and persuasion to prevail. But we do need to start urgently.
Thank you so much. This year, we are looking at the characteristics of white supremacy culture and seeing how they are relating to us personally and as a community. This is one part of our effort to live into our newest 8th principle, to actively and accountably dismantle systems of racism and oppression. These characteristics of white supremacy were first articulated by Tima Okun about a decade ago, and they have been used and adapted by faith communities, nonprofit organizations, activists, and those working against racism in their words and actions. I will be referencing Okun's words liberally today. Last month, we looked at perfectionism. And although I'm still working on that one too, this month we're moving into urgency. Now, I need to tell you that I'm struggling with urgency as much as I was struggling with perfectionism. I am very impatient lately. Mostly, I want the parking lot to be done now. I want the air compressor to be installed now. I want the COVID numbers to go down now. And I'll also say, I do not want a new variant. Can I just put that on my list of things that I urgently feel strongly about? I want us to be able to reopen and have everything back to normal right now. I have simply run out of patience. So to tell me that I need to look at my urgency, much less explain it to you in order to dismantle racism, well, I might not be in a best place to hear that right now. Did I mention that I want these things now? But I also get it. And I need this reminder every day, and I hope that you do too. So let me give you the headlines of this right up front. When we have a sense of urgency, we can perpetuate power imbalances because we do not take the time to consider who should be involved in the discussion and how. And we also become disconnected from ourselves, from our need to breathe, to pause, to regroup, and reflect. Okun says, the irony is that this imposed sense of urgency serves to erase the actual urgency of tackling racial and social injustice. So let's explore a little bit what this urgency is and how it works against us. This constant sense of urgency makes it difficult to take the time to be inclusive, to truly encourage democratic and thoughtful decision-making, and to consider consequences of whatever action that we take. It means that we don't take the time to find potential allies, instead of focusing on just getting quick, visible results. And those benefits, those visible results often benefit white folks. Here's a relevant decision. Last year, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote. We did note that the anniversary was for white women. While suffragists knew that it was important to fight for Black women, they knew it would take much, much longer. They made the strategic decision to do it faster, to get the vote for white women, than taking the time that it took to fight for all women. Urgency often reinforces existing power hierarchies that use the sense of urgency to control decision-making in the name of expediency. Do it now usually means do it without exploring or exposing any systematic issues. Urgency privileges those who process information quickly, or at least those who think that they do. As we've been exploring those who have neurodivergent brains in this congregation, we have learned that we benefit from taking the time and hearing all voices. And we can't do that if we don't give some folks time to think things over. Urgency means that we primarily focus on the logistical and practical modes of knowing. really knowing something. There are many other modes of learning, like embodied knowledge, intuitive knowing, and spiritual knowing. All of those take time, take meditation, and discernment. By rushing, we're going right to that practical knowing versus exploring other ways of knowing things deeply in our body. And urgency reinforces the idea that we are ruled by time, deadlines, and needing to do things in a timely way, which is often based on arbitrary schedules that have little to do with the actual realities of how long things take, especially when those things are in relationship to others. When we prioritize urgency, it makes it harder for us to distinguish what is really urgent from what feels urgent. After a while, everything takes on the same sense of urgency, leading to mental, physical, intellectual, and spiritual burnout and exhaustion. I feel like this has been true of the pandemic in so many ways. It's been rush, 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 and then wait. And I need to say, is the parking lot really that urgent? Is it really, in the whole scheme of things, is it the thing that I need most urgently? Not really. So let me address what Gary said about in the reflection, using Tima Akun's words. This characteristic of white supremacy is challenging because we understand that racial justice and equity is urgent. White supremacy and racism threaten, target, and violate people of color and communities every day. We are called on with this characteristic to hold the volatile and tender contradiction as an underlying urgency about our immediate need for justice, which is always with us with the day-to-day sense of urgency that too often defines our organizational and community cultures, leading to these consequences that we discussed above. White supremacy culture is not urgent about racial justice. White supremacy culture is urgent in the name of short-term power and profit. And white supremacy culture likes to engender a culture of urgency in those of us who are working to dismantle it because it knows that living with that constant sense that everything is urgent is a recipe for the abuse of power and burnout. So let's recap this. There is real urgency. But sometimes there's a false sense of urgency that prevents us from building relationships, creating a sense of exhaustion because everything is urgent, even when we know what's happening with that. And it reinforces us making fast decisions rather than good ones. Fast decisions rather than decisions that can dismantle these oppressive systems. So what does this look like in our everyday life? Well, for me, it often means that I'm in such a rush to cross things off of my to-do list, I don't take the time to think about who else I should talk to before I make a decision. It means that I often focus on getting something done quickly instead of getting it done with an anti-racist lens. And the truth is that some of the things that I want to cross off aren't truly urgent. I just want to get them done so I can move on to the next urgent thing. I really do have the time to have the conversations about how to do them well and in ways to support our values. And I end up having those conversations that if I take the time, they're actually more meaningful than the thing that I was going to cross off the list anyway. So what are some of the antidotes? What do we do about this? What do we replace urgency with so that we can be more anti-racist? Luckily, Akun has many of them. we can create realistic work plans for ourselves, for where we work, for our families, based on true lived experiences of the organization and the people who are in it. For us here at UUCP, that often means what is called working at the speed of church, which is slower and often than many of us want. But if we are truly living within our principles and covenant, then it takes more time, and that's okay. It means having a commitment to equity, including a commitment to discuss and plan what it means to embed equity practices into the work that we're doing. That means everything from hiring to setting our congregational goals, to our staff expectations, to taking that little extra time for the conversation that we need to in our teams and committee meetings. It means spending a little bit more time at the beginning of a process to be clear on how we can make good decisions, even though we live in this culture of urgency. Maybe it means stopping before we all say, okay, go, to say, now, how do we make sure that we're doing this well, not just fast? It means understanding that rushing decisions takes more time in the long run, because inevitably the people who didn't get a chance to voice their thoughts and feelings will at best resent the decisions and at worst undermine them where they were left unheard. It often takes less time to do it right and well and slow the first time. And it means developing a personal and collective practice of noticing when urgency arises and taking a pause to deliberate with thoughtfulness and intention about that urgency and the range of options that might be more available to you rather than just the urgent one. Akun seems very comfortable with the nuances of this concept. She says, again, the point here is to both acknowledge actual urgency without creating an undue and superficial sense of urgency. People need food and housing and healthcare and attention right now. There's often no time to wait. The damage starts when we transfer a sense of urgency to everything that we do, refuse to make time to rest, even and particularly in the midst of these truly urgent situations, and begin to feel that taking a pause is a betrayal to our commitment. If we can let go of this concept of urgency, then we can take a moment to consider our accountability, that same accountability we're called to in that 8th principle. Who are we in relationship with? How do they understand the challenges and solutions? What are the values that they want to live into as we take action? How do we do that in a way that can preserve and build connection? How can we be transparent about the pressures on us to move quickly in ways that give us more power and agency over those decisions? And ultimately, have those decisions be grounded in love and connection. If there is anything that the past few weeks, not to mention the last few years, has shown us, it is that white supremacy culture is alive and well. We see that in the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse, where his right to carry a gun into a crowd of Black Lives Matter protesters and kill 2 of them is prioritized more than the Black lives that they were protesting. By the defense of the 3 men who killed Ahmaud Arbery, the fact that we even had to wonder what the verdict might be in that was a sign that white supremacy is still alive. By the ever-growing I'm finding them amazingly more absurd conversations about race in our history and how fragile so many people are in discussing what really happened in our country, in our communities. It seems counterintuitive, I could say this, it seems counterintuitive that to dismantle racism faster, that we need to slow down. That to provide a counterbalance for this destructive culture, we need to take the time to build relationships, listen to each other, and see how we can live more intentionally into our values. It seems counterintuitive that we need to stop the status quo that supports white supremacy culture by slowing down, by disrupting the current ways of doing things and challenging the rush to every single thing, including parking lots and air conditioners. We're in a rush to change the world, and in order to do that, we need to slow down a little bit. May we all have the foresight, the courage, and mostly the patience to do that, to make it so. So shall it be.
Thank you, Christine. So, as Christine was saying, we've all learned to crack the whip, right? That's what it took to go along, to get along in this world when the folks in charge were cracking the whip. And now we all know how very well, on ourselves, on each other. And if the antidote is patience, I think maybe we'll get the most leverage by having patience with ourselves. So I'd like to teach you a gospel song about having patience with yourself. It was, you can sing it to yourself as a reminder. It's by Sim Wilson Jr., and it was first released by Albertina Walker singing with the Reverend James Cleveland. And the song, you'll hear some lyrics that you may not recognize. It quotes the Bible story of Job, who hopes that if he finds God and does right, he will become as pure as gold. So feel free to sing it with me. It's called Please Be Patient with Me. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. When God get through with me, when God get through with me, I shall come forth as pure gold. Try it with me at home. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. When God get through with me, when God get through with me, oh, I shall come forth as pure gold. Just because it's new, let's do it one more time. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. When God get through with me, when God get through with me, oh, I shall come forth as pure gold. Let's go to the bridge. If you should see me and I'm not walking right, and if you should hear me and I'm not talking right, please remember that God is not through with me. When he gets through with me, I'll be what he wants me to be, Lord. Oh, please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. When God get through with me, when God get through with me, I shall come forth as pure gold. If you should see me and I'm not walking right, and if you should hear me and I'm not talking right, please remember that God is not through with me. When he gets through with me, I'll be what he wants me to be. Oh, Lord, please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. When God get through with me, when God get through with me, oh, I shall come forth as pure gold. Thanks all.
What a great song pick. That was awesome. Thank you, Benji. Thank you so much, Susan and Liz, for the music. Thank you, Gary, for your reflections. Thank you, Karen, for lighting the chalice. Before our closing words, I do want to remind you there's not coffee hour today. Instead, there is this. And I wish you could see, like you all, there is so much goodness in this. I cannot, I can't show you. I promised them that I wouldn't. I just got a picture from Granada Park. They are all set up with a whole bunch of these. Visitors, please come by as well. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to see you. And you know you want what's in this bag. Oh, yes, there are also photos with the UUCP Christmas pageant Pterodon. There's a photo station. Benji and I will be there if you want to see what my joke has been, if you want to see that we still have legs, because you've seen us just with, waist up for so long. Please come and just pick up a bag, say hi to us. It will be wonderful to gather. And for our closing words, let us do the important work of dismantling white supremacy by being countercultural. Let us slow down, build relationships, think through the most equitable way to do things, and not be tethered to a culture that is demanding more and more of us. Let us do that so that we can prioritize what is truly important. May our efforts to do that for ourselves and within our community pull at the threads of this culture that can hold us captive. May the pulling of each thread lead to our individual and collective liberation. May it be so. Go in peace. Go in love, go in deliberate and compassionate care.
Take your time, take your time, take your time. No need to hurry. Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. No need to hurry. No slipping, no sliding, no bumping, no boring. I want to ride into town. If you fall from the race, it's no disgrace. Just pick yourself from off the ground. Take your time, take your time, take your time. No need to hurry, no, no, no. Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. No need to hurry. For the road is rough, and don't you ever get stuck. Take your time, take it easy, take your time. No need to hurry. Oh. Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. No need to hurry. Take your time, take your time, take your time. No need to worry. No slipping, no sliding, no bumping, no boring. I want to ride into town. If you fall from the race, it's no disgrace. Just pick yourself from off the ground. And take your time, take your time, take your time. No need to worry. No, no, no. Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. No need to worry. Oh, oh. Take your time now, take your time, take your time, take your time. No need to worry. For the road is rough, and don't you ever get stuck. Take your time, take your time.
Now is the time. Now is the time for all good men to get together with one another, iron out their problems and iron out their quarrels, and try to live as brothers, and try to find peace within without stepping on one another. And do respect of the women of the world. Just remember we all had mothers.
Make this land a better land in the world in which we live.
And help each man be a better man with the kindness that you give. And I know we can make it.
I know that we can.
I know done well we can work it out.
Oh yes we can. I know we can. Yes we can. And why can't we if we wanna? Yes we can.
I know we can make it work.
I know that we can.
I know we can make it if we try.
Oh yes we can. I know we can. Yes we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes we can. I know we can.
Take care of the children of the world. They're our strongest hope for the future, the little bit of boys and girls. And make this land a better land, and the world in which we live. And help each man be a better man with the kindness that you give. And I know we can make it.
I know that we can.
I know done well we can work it out.
Oh yes we can. I know we can. Yes we can. And why can't we if we wanna? Yes we can.
I know we can make it work.
I know that we can.
I know we can make it if we try.
Oh yes we can. I know we can. Yes we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes we can. I know we can.
man, be a better man with the kindness that you give. And I know we can make it.
I know that we can.
I know darn well that we can work it out.
Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can.
I know we can make it
I
work.
know that we can.
I know we can make it if we try.
Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. I know we can. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. I know we can. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. I know we can. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. I know we can. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Great gosh almighty. Yes, we can. I know we can.
Paul and Silas bound in jail